Hello, my friend. I have a little surprise for you because a lot has changed since you last saw me. This is a 2024 Ford Transit. I can explain a little later why we decided to go brand new. And yes, it is a we because I have a fiance. I, in fact, always had a boyfriend while I was camping the SUV, but he was just across on the other side of the country. And when I met him, I already had this grand plan to do solo traveling and he was in full support. So I just did it anyways, and we were long distance for quite a while. But since then, we have lived in an apartment, we have lived at his parents', we have lived out of his SUV in more of a tent. I can explain that a bit. And in fact, while we were living out of the tent, which sounds pretty rough, I know, we decided that we needed something much more comfortable for the two of us to fit in. So it's really exciting that along the way, I think it's every single nomadic girl's dream that while traveling, you meet someone who's just as into traveling and the lifestyle that you have. Ryan is a country music artist, so he's full steam ahead on the nomadic lifestyle. And that will also play into how we're designing this van. I have so much to catch you up on. I'm so sorry that I'm so behind on my timeline. It is January 2025. This video should go up January 2025, unlike a lot of my other videos, which were basically at least a year behind reality. But I honestly was just so burnt out at one point from all the moving around we were doing. We weren't really ever settled, and it was hard for me to just feel creative. But once I got back into the groove, it has been so much fun to share Oregon with you guys, and I really have loved editing those videos, and it's been so inspiring to watch my past self and everything I experienced there. And it does make me want to go on more solo trips, but I am also considering selling the SUV camper, so we'll have to talk about that. I don't really know what to do with that, but this is obviously taking up a lot of our finances, so it would be nice to have that cash. Anyways, that's a lot of information. Like I said, I have a lot of catching up to do with you. We have started working on the van. We got it early last summer or something like that, but we didn't really start building it till August when we could get into this shop. Even then, we've been away for a month here and there for the holidays. Yeah, it's also chaotic building a van, which I'm learning how to deal with that. It's a lot different than building a tiny SUV. When people ask me why I didn't build a van instead, I'm like, this is why. To do this alone, I applaud all the people that do it alone, but I also know we're holding ourselves to a really high standard with this van because we do want it to hold its resale value, potentially, because it's a pretty niche van, which we'll get into that later. Anyway, we bought it brand new because it actually takes about 8 months for the van to come in off the assembly line or whatever, and you don't really know when you're gonna get it. So we ordered it in September 2023, and then we got it in May 2024, which is wild. But that is also why it was actually cheaper to buy one new than to buy one used that was just there off the lot and had more kilometers on it, which is also crazy. So we're kind of seeing this as our first home / only home, which is helping us justify, you know, some people get engaged and they get a mortgage, and we got a van instead, which I think is perfectly cool. It is the high roof extended, and it's also a dually, which is basically the absolute biggest Transit you can get. As you can see, we've made some progress in here, but I'm going to show you the layout real quickly that we're thinking. So obviously you come in here, and then we're going to have our kitchen galley right by the door, which I'd say is pretty standard. Here is going to be a bench seat that does a fold out into a bed, and it's going to be, I think, roughly a twin size, and then above it there'll be some upper cabinets. This will be a floor-to-ceiling cabinet, and then in the back we are going to have bunks. So this van is designed to sleep up to 6 people because we want Ryan to be able to use it for when he's on tour with a band as well. But we also want to live in it, and we wanted to use it as an adventure rig. So we have a couple of ideas for how we're going to make it a bit more flexible. The bottom bunks are going to double as a full-size bed that will convert from a dinette. So we'll have some sort of table in the middle here that will come down and then make the big bed, which is a very popular configuration for a lot of RVs and vans. And then instead of having upper cabinets or something like that up top, we are going to have other beds that will fold up and kind of make a bit of a triangle roof here, hopefully a little further back. So it will eat into our headspace, and we're not sure if we may leave them down often and then use that as some sort of storage as well when it's just the two of us in here. We're not really sure how it's going to be in practice, but we have seen this idea pulled off in other vans, so we think it should work out. And then here we'll have our kitchen with an induction stove, a sink, and upper cabinets. And that's the gist. Now I'm sure there will be some questions about various things, so drop them in the comments below. Let me know and I will either do a Q&A if there's a lot, or I'll just make sure that I address them over the days of filming this van build. If you want a little look at what's been going on over the year or so in my life, I have been filming along the way attempts at trying to keep up with YouTube during it, so I will include that now to catch you up on everything that's happened. I was still road tripping solo in my SUV camper when Ryan asked if I'd come on tour with him to Texas. The thing is this was going to be a brand new market for him and he wasn't going to make a lot of money, so his plan was to camp in a tent the entire time. Of course, I said yes because why not? And as soon as I got back from my trip, we packed his mid-size SUV with all of his music gear and all of our camping gear and a suitcase each, and we hit the road. We really had no idea what we were in for, but we knew we enjoyed camping, we knew we liked being outside, and we were just committed to figuring it out. We were actually feeling quite good about this because we much preferred it compared to lugging our stuff in and out of a hotel every night. And it didn't really feel like a big transition for me because I'd already come from road tripping and laundromats and showering at an Anytime Fitness gym.
Hey, somebody left their phone here.
The hard part for me was the amount of driving that we did. Ryan was taking interviews at radio stations, and also his schedule was full of little small town venues all over Texas that he would be playing. Sometimes we'd be in 3 different towns in one day, but through it we met so many new people and we were constantly being welcomed in their homes for somewhere nice to stay. There were many nights where we even got to stay in a friend's parked tour bus. About a month or so in, we actually met another band who had converted a Ford Transit into a mini tour bus. This really opened our eyes to what was possible. It felt like it was combining our two worlds, where I was coming from this SUV camper van life world and Ryan saw it as something that he could leverage for his music career. It also gave us something to dream about as we were constantly setting up our tent every night. This routine was wearing us out for sure, and it did feel like the ultimate stress test for our fairly new relationship. But we also loved the adventure of it. We loved all the time we were outside. We loved all the people that we were meeting and all the weird experiences that we were having. And we even said I love you for the first time right here. We started spending our free hours setting up in cafes and researching or looking up vans for sale or just trying to figure out what the layout would be for our own van. Pretty soon, we were headed back to Canada. I had been living in my SUV, as we know, and Ryan had actually been house sitting for family friends. So we didn't actually have anywhere to land when we got back from tour.
Oh no. Oh no.
It was almost Christmas, so we just decided to stay with Ryan's parents for a very extended holiday. It was honestly the best thing for us in order to just finally slow down. And then my parents are going to be away for the other half of the Christmas, so they invited us to stay in their home and shovel the driveway. By the spring, we had finally figured out where we wanted to end up living, and we were able to rent the basement of our friend's house. We bought a mattress, we bought our secondhand furniture, but we only had 2 rooms, so we didn't have a couch, we had a beanbag. Ryan built a Murphy bed so we could flip it up and use that space as a work-from-home office during the day. And life was looking pretty normal. I got a bartending job to make some extra money, and I finally got to editing my YouTube videos. A big part of this chapter for me is saving money. And with that, buying groceries. My poor little tomatoes got smushed. I'm more than happy to live a simpler life in order to have money to do big, exciting things. And I'm still able to get lots of fresh veggies and fill our fridge with lots of food. And I just spent like 10 minutes at least fiddling with the little points app, and I saved $10 in the store today, so that's another win. The idea of converting a van had not left our brains, and we were pretty focused on just saving up money and spending as little as we could to save up for this big thing.
This is going to be comparable to, I think, what you're thinking. Like, this is the high roof, this is the extended.
Yeah.
just not a dually.
It's interesting
That's something to think about.
This could be a couch.
We have to put a grill up on here.
Oh, nice.
That's really.
And this hose right here, these.
Of course, it didn't take long for us to figure out that even buying a used van in Canada is very expensive. It wasn't really even going to save us that much money to buy used, and we would likely end up with a van that didn't check off all of our boxes and had mileage and all these worn out parts. So we started considering ordering a brand new van, which seemed very crazy to us.
I didn't really get it, so I said no because it was $1,000.
Heat is distributed from a rear front passenger seat. No. But we do have AC, right?
I think so. Would it not have AC?
If we're dropping this much money, it better have fucking AC.
Meanwhile, Ryan was out there planning a whole other commitment behind my back.
Stop!
Megan, we've carved a path, we've poured a foundation, and there's no one else I'd rather set this in stone with. Would you be my wife?
Yeah.
So technically it's in, as it is?
As of right now, there's an order in the system.
Okay. Wow.
Okay?
That's great.
I don't know, so like every week, you know, whether it's gonna get built this year or not, or
Right.
whatever, no idea.
Could be 6
When,
months, could be.
when and if it transfers over to, what they do is, they'll do balance out, so they'll balance out the model year, right? So they'll say, this is gonna be the last order for 2023 models.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If that happens, then we'll have to switch it to a 24, but
right,
will there be a price increase? Maybe, but it's not gonna be substantial,
right.
right?
Yeah, what was, we read that one, there was an article on what's the difference between the 2022 and 2023?
the price.
This one is $600 more.
Yeah.
All this.
Is this like we are for sure this is going to be our transit, or is this still like we're gonna see when it comes in and then
I'm looking at this like we go home, we review all the specs and make sure it is what we want. And if we want any changes, we make sure we let Mike know before Wednesday.
mm-hmm.
And then, that's it. We got a Ford Transit on order. But I think we go home and like just double check everything to make sure nothing needs to be changed on the order. And we wait for it to come in.
But then when it comes in, like we're for sure taking it.
Oh yeah, I'm in.
It was pretty surreal to order the van. I couldn't believe it. But we still had to wait months, and an unknown number of months. So we kept busy with our other projects and hobbies. I was still bartending. I even started volunteering at a youth center. Then 8 months later, things got very real.
Oh,
It's a very nice people. Yeah.
that's us. Yeah.
Or
Getting the tanks that go.
Having the van in person made a huge difference for planning out the conversion. We were able to start taking measurements and ordering parts and collecting all the tools we would need. We taped out our layout, but our street side parking was not going to cut it. We had started projects next to the curb, but our neighbor absolutely hated the van being parked out front, and we very quickly learned how important it is to fold in our mirrors. So I started looking at shop spaces or garages or something that we could work out of. I ended up finding a shared garage bay with a couple mechanics on the other side of town. We went to go check it out and found out that it even had a loft space upstairs, which was just really cool to me, but it was extremely dusty and far from pretty and functional. Somehow we saw through all of the dust and debris, and we said yes to renting this place and immediately started cleaning cleaning it up. We knew that we wanted to make the space work for us so that we could 100% focus on the van. So we spent about a week or so bringing electrical and plumbing upstairs so we could have a sort of kitchen lunchroom area. And we made the other room extra cozy. There was leftover flooring and all of that so that we'd have a space to work from our laptops and research. We moved around all the shared equipment and made some workspaces for ourselves and had lots of room to bring all of our materials and tools and just spread out and settle in. It has not been the most glamorous journey, but it has been very exciting, and it's all brought us here, to our half-finished van conversion.